everybody. Hey, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. This is part 2 of Sunday morning while the sermon's going on, behind the scenes look at those who were on the stage playing in the band, singing, and leading us in worship. We've got Miss Alicia King here. We have Isaac Morelock.
There you go.
And then I call this guy on the end Dude. That was a nickname that my brother called him a long time ago. But this is Brian, and I'm blanking on your last name right now. Shoemaker, that's right. Wow, that's very embarrassing of me. Brian, do you remember coming to my parents' house when I was a child?
You know, I've got an interesting story about that, I think. I actually think that I'm the first person in this church to have met you.
To have met me. And people don't know this, but
yeah,
it was, I was probably 5 or 6, somewhere in there.
It's 2005.
Yeah. So he came to Delaware, and he stayed at my house because he was friends with my brother in college. And we went over to my brother-in-law's house, and I believe you broke something at his house. Do you remember this?
No.
There was like a heater grate, and you were like laying on it or something, and then a hinge broke or something. I don't remember that. I vividly remember. And do you remember David Lemonnier?
Yes.
I called him David Lemonhead. I don't know why.
I think everybody did.
I think everyone did. And he was there as well. And then there was someone else, and I can't remember. Kirk. What's his last name?
Smith.
So all three of them came.
Smith. Me.
And David. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a long time ago.
I was trying to name other people, but there were people that lived there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brian is the first person to have met me from this church, and he still holds the trophy and the title for that. So well done. So guys, we asked in the last session, our in-depth session, we asked them, what's your preparation look like in the morning as you're getting ready to help lead music and worship on a Sunday morning? Allie, what's your prep time look like? Is it a lot? Is it a little? You have a little drive, so like, what's that like? Yeah. And how do you get in the zone?
So normally I always listen to music when I'm like getting ready, doing my hair, doing my makeup, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I'll just kind of make a playlist of the songs that we're doing, and I'll just kind of loop it over and over just to keep them all fresh in my mind and everything. And then on the way here, since it is a short drive, it's probably like 3 minutes, mm-hmm. if that even. I'll just kind of pray that it goes well, and pray that people are able to get something from it, that it'll touch people's hearts in some way. That's kind of what I do.
So people might not know this about you, but you have led worship a lot. And when you were at school, you used to lead worship regularly, right? Yeah. So how has it been going from like organizing sets and doing all that to just being asked to sing and not lead? Is it I'm putting you on the spot now. Has that been a hard transition? Do you ever get the itch to like lead again, or where are you at with that?
I don't know.
Like if I called you up and like, look, Allie, we've got this week coming up. I want you to lead the whole thing. Would you be excited about that, or would you be like, nah, I'm not, that's not me anymore?
It depends on how far in advance I knew. I'd probably be a little nervous about it. I'm a singer, and I know some about, chords and that kind of thing, but I don't know a whole lot about all the other instruments and stuff, so I'd probably be like, right here, I need you to do this thing.
Help
and
me here.
They won't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So.
Did you enjoy it, though, when you did it?
Yeah, I did. So whenever I went to CMU, I had a scholarship to be on their praise team there, and it was fun. But we also had it as kind of like a class. So we got a whole lot of time to practice and prep and that kind of thing. Right. But, yeah.
Cool. Isaac, what about you? What's your morning, like, get ready for worship, get in the zone mode?
I guess for me, can this pick me up, first of all? I don't know. But for me...
Oh, yeah. You got you're spiking over there. Okay, you're good. Cool. You don't have... It's got to be about that, like this. Okay, you're good.
Okay. For me, I wake up, do my hair, all that stuff, because it takes me a while to get my hair done.
You got to get the hair right. You got to get it right.
It's a whole process. And I'll just have, like, certain songs I'm struggling with on loop, and I'll just listen to those. And since I don't have a drum set, I just air drum. Like I visualize like the kit I'm playing on and how it's set up.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, here's how I want to hit here.
Yeah.
Or, this fill here and there. And that's kind of how I prep. I just visualize it all in my head.
We got to get you some pizza boxes to set up. So you can
something.
You can do that.
So.
All right, Brian. What about you? What's your morning routine look like? How do you get in the zone? Is there a zone to get to?
Well, usually I wake up and I try to get here
on time.
Usually it's the night before. If I don't know a song, I might listen to it a lot the night before. If I wake up early enough, I usually listen to worship music.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's part of the set list. I just listen and sing along and whatever.
Right, just have it on. So we talked about the last one about preparation that goes into worship and our thought process on like how that goes. I want to ask you guys about something Mackenzie said about taking pride in what you're able to do, but also knowing that it's about God and worshiping Him. So how do you walk that line of, yes, I take pride in my ability and I want to do this well, but I also know this is not about me. This is about who God is and worshiping Him. So you've got the mic already. Do you want to take that one?
There's been times where well, I've been playing here since
it's been a minute.
2014. Usually when I'm here playing, like sometimes I forget I'm even on stage or that there's a crowd out there. I just kind of get lost. Like I'm not. Like I'm good enough at what I do to where I'm just
you're in
jamming
it
along, and sometimes it's like if people out there that have the ear can hear me mess up, it's because I get lost in thought and I'm like, oh, I just hit the wrong note because
you're on auto drive. Yeah.
I'm feeling the music.
Some people may not know that you've been playing bass for a very long time. Have you counted up the years? Because I know you were playing in college. You were doing worship sets in college, and that's been a minute. Like, did you play before that?
The year was I grew up sort of with the knowledge that I could play music, but I think I've told other people here this. I didn't get interested in music until I became a Christian, and I saw there's a couple elders. No, they were deacons at the time. At night, they'd play hymns in like 80s, 90s, choruses that repeat 50 times. They play them on acoustic guitar. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, in 1997, I learned bass, guitar, and mandolin in all 1 year.
Wow.
And piano.
That's a lot.
I just picked them all up. A little obsessive compulsive about it.
Yeah, so once you're in something, you're like really in it. People may not understand this, but when, if someone says, worship music today, they just repeat the same stuff over and over again. You're actually talking about like late 90s, early 2000s music.
Yeah.
It's 25. We're 25 plus years removed from some of those choruses that were consistent on repeat. Now, I mean, obviously some music does that today, but a lot of times when people, it doesn't happen often anymore, but some people will tell me like, I can't listen to new songs because they just repeat the same lines over and over again. And I'm like, you're actually thinking about choruses from the early 2000s, and it's been 20 plus years since then. But anyway, that's a side note. What about you guys? Like taking pride in what you do, but also not being prideful.
Yeah, well, I think it's always about, praising God and worshiping God, and that's the main focus. But for us, I think also like music is also a hobby of ours. Like people have a hobby of sports and they take that very seriously and they have fun doing it. I think it's kind of like that in a way also, even though there is that really serious aspect of it for worshiping. But I also think that we kind of take pride in it and try our best because we don't want to mess up, not because of how it makes us look, but I know a lot of people say, it doesn't matter how it sounds, and that's true. God doesn't care how it sounds, you know.
But let's be honest.
But
it can be very distracting
yes.
if something's like really bad or noticeably bad.
That's what I was going to say. I think also for people that are music people, you know, if it's not going well up there, or if you're out there and it's just, it's distracting and it kind of takes your mind off of it. So I think we try so hard because we don't want that to happen. And we want it to sound good because there are people that are going to notice if it doesn't, and it might be distracting a little bit. Yeah. Although God doesn't care.
He cares about the heart. We know that.
Yeah.
But part of what we're doing is trying to help all of us worship together, sing a song together, praise together, and that has to have some, you know, organization to it.
Yeah.
Isaac, what would you say to that?
I mean, they kind of answered everything that I was going to say.
Oh, did she steal everything?
Yeah, I mean, they both did. But I'm just going to give a thumbs up and say I agree with everything. And that's my spiel on that.
Perfect.
So
I liked what you said about people use their hobbies to glorify God all the time, and music is no different. Because it is a hobby. I mean, I think about music a lot, try to learn new songs just for fun. And I know many other people do. And I had a couple one time, or an individual, I wanted to elevate our stage at the church building and expand it. And they were against it because they said it will be a performance if we elevate the stage. But the night before, they had gone to a big Gaither concert. And I just said, so how tall was the stage for the Gaither concert? You know, and of course it was a big, giant stage. And I was like, were they making it a performance? Well, no. And I was like, maybe it's not about the stage or the lights or anything else, but about the heart that goes into it and the creativity of getting people to gather together to worship. Because we don't want to be distracting.
Yeah.
I want to add something. I think sometimes certain churches, it can be like a performance. Like, oh, how can we get everybody to just come in here, jam pack the place, and just put on a whole big concert? And that can definitely take away from like the message that the song is conveying, or just like the whole service as a whole. Because I've been to a few, and I'm like, is this a concert venue? Like, there's like thousands of seats. I'm like, man, am I in the wrong place? I don't know.
I'm just curious if you guys, this kind of a detour, what's been like it's been a phenomenal or great experience of praising God through music, and if you've identified them, what were the elements that made it such a fantastic experience? Because I've been to some places like that where it's big, has the highest tech, the sound, you know, perfect, and it was just like, all right. And then sometimes where, you know, I'll share my experiences, but has there been times where you're like, this was like a moment of like incredible connection with God and me being able to praise His name? And what were the common elements of that?
I think just when they take a break throughout the song and just let it be, just play, you know, just have some instrumental, knowing that, okay, the audience is responding well to it. You know, we're seeing people like let it impact them, and just taking time to, it's like, say we're about to hit the bridge. Okay, they're getting impacted. Let's just hold off on the bridge and just play. Let it breathe. Let people feel it, you know, and kind of just be in the moment. And I know for me, when I went to Crossroads for a while, they would do that a lot. They would just the message and the song would hit really well together. And I was like, oh man, I'm really feeling God's presence. It would hit me. Like, shout
out to Matt. Nice work, guys.
A song I would hear all the time, you know, at Central or just on the radio or anything, would hit different in that moment. Yeah. And just the message in that one song, they would take a break. And I was like, oh man, it just hit me. Yeah. And I would start bawling. I'm like, man, what is going on? Like, it just, like, that's God working. Yeah. You know?
That's cool.
So.
Yeah. I think for me, there's been times that I think were a great worship experience with all the big stuff at a big church, with all the fancy stuff. And that didn't matter to me. I think there's also been times where it's just like an acoustic guitar and the campfire that is just as impactful. And I think that what it is for me is whenever you can tell that the people leading have that heart for it, and you can see it, they make it known, they put emotion into it, and I think so it doesn't really matter if it's quiet and acoustic or big and loud and fancy. I think it's really the the heart and the emotion that they put behind it that matters for me the most.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me too, is if I have a connection or know something about who's leading and feel like what they're doing is genuine, and then I can connect to it, and then I can participate in it. I think that's really important. Brian, what about you?
I think most of my experiences here, I wouldn't really call myself shy, but I'm rather introverted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really like grateful that I can be a huge part of people doing community worship together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not really doing much besides plucking on some strings, but
Yeah,
like when people applaud or
you can see it.
when people are singing, like, it's pretty loud actually, like,
Mm-hmm.
or like when, like, I know there's been a few times when it's like, because I hardly ever wear the inners anymore, so it's like,
Yeah.
all right, they're keeping me on beat.
Yeah,
They're singing
yeah,
the
because
song.
they're singing so loud. Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I can be part of this church and like just help facilitate group worship.
Yeah.
And like I'm adding in some very small way.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think for me, it's when I can connect with someone. Like, there's been times at conferences or stuff where the leader will share a story and then it humanizes them. Where it's like, oh, you're not just a voice up there; you're a person. I remember at one concert, there was a preacher, and he was recording. It was at the Missouri Christian Convention, and that happens in March. It's coming up soon. A little plug there if you are interested. It's a great convention. And the preacher was recording the band, and I went up to him later. I'm like, why were you recording, with his, he kind of looked like an older guy with his iPad up there, but it was just fun. And he said, that's my daughter singing on the stage, and I lost her for several years. And to see her up there praising God, worshiping him after going through that experience just makes me so grateful and proud. And you better believe the next session where she was up there singing a song, it like hit me so much different because I know now her story a little bit. And that the genuineness and connection with those who are leading, I think, is a big deal. So, I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for your talents. Thank you for helping lead and being a part of the teams here. These two in the middle are about to get married, which is exciting. What are you most nervous about, Allie, as far as like getting stuff ready? Are you a planner? Is there something what's stressing you out the most about this upcoming nuptials?
Really, it's just being in front of people, and I think that's kind of funny because I don't mind singing in front of people, and I don't know why, but for some reason, I do get nervous, but not too bad.
But everybody's gonna be standing just looking at you.
Nobody
cares about Isaac. That's not.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other time standing in front of people, speaking in front of people is no. But when I sing, I'm just not as nervous for some reason. But I'm just kind of nervous about it. All the focus being on me.
Yeah,
that's
center of attention.
I'm more shy, and that's not really my kind of thing, and so I'm pretty nervous about that.
Are you nervous about anything, or you just going with the flow?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the flow type of person anyways. So I'm gonna be there to say I do, socialize, and just
dance,
start our life together,
have some fun. So. Well, that's awesome. Brian, do you have any advice for this couple as they're thinking about upcoming marriage?
Did you mention the fact?
No, I left it out, but I can. Well, from your perspective, so Brian's been divorced. He's been divorced. It was happened a while ago. You said 10, 11 years?
It's going on 11 years.
Going on 11 years. So it's been a minute. So I had asked him earlier, like, from your perspective, like, what would you tell a younger couple having been married, and you were married pretty young.
Yeah.
You were pretty young. And then having gone through a divorce, you have a unique perspective on marriage. So you still believe in marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. like as something that God instituted, like what advice would you give?
First of all, I hope you're not offended, but you're batting out of your league.
Yeah, that's very true.
That might be part of yeah, just I'm trying to think even where to start. Just focus on telling you something. If I ever have the opportunity to get remarried, like there's no way that I would ever get another divorce. If I ever get married again, come hell or high water, like I am not leaving that. Well, one of us is going to have to die. And I was on a date with this. All right, I'll get personal. I was on a date with this
you're already
girl,
in it.
and I said, well, because she was like interrogating me like a police officer, which I get.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool. But look, if I ever get married, if you want to get this serious on a coffee date, like I'm never. We were both divorced.
Yeah.
Both Christians, both divorced, and I was like, I'm never, ever getting another divorce. She's like, I don't know if I'd go that far. It's like, yeah, you might do something where I have to leave you.
Yeah. So she's leaving that door open.
Yeah, I mean I don't think we're supposed to be like the world. Like, if I would never. I mean, I wouldn't get back with my ex-wife now, but if I could go back 15, well, I don't know how. I have to do some math. Like, I would have done everything I could to try to fix it, but I really think that, especially in this culture, in this day and age, like, I think marriage, biblical marriage is under attack. Like, I don't think Paul was joking when he was like, you're the head of, well, spiritually, you're the head of your wife. Like, he died for this church. I think that's another thing I'm grateful for this church about. There's a lot of great married couples in this church. So, I mean, I would...
Hang on. No, it's fine. I forgot to... There you go.
I would get mentored, whatever you have to do to stay married. And you're going to think like the first couple of years, you're going to think this is so awesome. Like, no, it doesn't not, I'm going to be real, it does not stay awesome. Like, light's going to hit. There's going to be financial problems. There's going to be, you're not going to like each other all the time. There's going to be fights. There's going to be, if you have babies, there's going to be staying up all night and being stressed out, and jobs and people trying to stay connected with your friends. And marriage is not easy, but I mean, I still obviously think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm mainly just talking to you. Like, just do what you have to do to stay married. Like, not man up, but like husband up.
Husband up. That's a great phrase.
Husband up. If you're gonna get married, husband up and do it. Like, and there's a lot of, even with, like I said, like this culture is really divided between men and women. Like, if you're gonna be married, like, husband up and do the work you got to do to stay married.
Yeah, I think it's a great piece of advice. Not that you don't matter, because obviously you impact the marriage in a huge way.
Yeah, I'm just.
but I'm saying, like, but it is a big thing where, how a husband chooses to love and sacrifice and lead for his wife sets the tone for the relationship and can make a huge difference. And there's times where, like, you will be carrying him in the relationship, but that does make a huge difference. And I think that's why when we talk about scriptures and husband's the head of the household or the head of the wife, like, it's not a matter of authority, but a matter of responsibility. And while it might come with some authority, it is a matter of, it is my responsibility to guard and protect this marriage and to present my family, my spouse, my family to God as holy. Like, I've done my best to care for them. And I think that's something that I don't always do well is a lot of times I expected my wife to set the tone of the home. and really it's on me to set the tone of the home. She guards and protects that, but it is really on me, and I didn't really realize how much of an impact that the husband can make. But I think if you're kind to each other, be kind, and love Jesus first yourself, and allow God to shape your heart is huge, and you'll make it through. Failure in marriage is only when you give up. It's not the mistakes you make along the way. A marriage only fails when it's over, and sometimes we feel like, oh, I'm failing in this. And it's like, well, you might have made mistakes, but if you keep going, then you're not a failure. So if you have any advice for these two lovebirds, it's coming up in the fall, right? Mm-hmm. If you have any advice for them, drop it in the comments below, and I'm sure they will read every single one and respond to each one.
I'll make it my personal mission to read
every single comment. Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We have got to jet because we've got to get back out there for the next part of this service. We love you all. Thank you for joining us here on the Ripple Effect Podcast. We'll see you next time.